everybody. Happy New Year. Fellow Toastmasters, welcome guests. I was born in a little town called Champney. It's a very isolated little community. In a house that was surrounded by hills on three sides, and the ocean and a little wharf on the other side. So when I was about 9 or 10, I remember walking down in my plaid pants at the time, and walking out on the wharf and looking down over the wharf, and in there was just a mess of fish heads and fish guts that had maybe 50 fish, different types of fish, all swimming around. And so I guess my goal was to catch one of these fish. So I remember having to climb down over the head of the wharf and pull off a snail and bring it up and put it on a flat rock and take another flat rock and smash it. So then what you're left with is a gooey bit with hard bit, a gooey piece with hard bits in it. So if you pick all the hard bits out and put that on the hook, then you can take that and you can flick it in the water. And it was amazing. The ugliest fish were the ones that you could catch first. Because the sculpins, if you went anywhere near those, boy, they'd take it and they'd swallow it, and then you have a sculpin. So what does a 9-year-old do? You got to cut the string. And I put another hook on. So afterwards, you would move up the food chain, then you move to the flatfish, and they were a little easier to catch, but you needed smaller bait. And then you move on to the crabs. And if you drop the bait down in front of the crab, they'll reach out and they'll grab it with one of their claws. But if you lift it really fast, they'll let go and they'll fall back down to the bottom. So you take it and you just gently pull and you lift them off the bottom, and then you get them going and you can pull them right out of the water and they'll shoot out. You've got to move. You don't want to get one of those in the head. So. Then you move up the food chain a little more to the finfish, the trout, and the salmon peels, and they're a little harder to catch. You have to take those and you have to get the bait in there, and you got to move it a little bit like a fish. And if they grab the bait, then you flick those really hard, and they'll come out faster than the crabs ever will. And I have been hit with flying fish before. So after you catch some of those, then you might look out a little farther and you might actually see a lobster out farther out in the deeper water. So you can I would pull in the old boat that was sitting there, and it would only come about this close to the wharf because we moored off with another string on or rope on the back. And so I'd have to jump in the boat and hope that I wouldn't fall in the water. And then you could get in the boat and walk out to the back and look down, and you would see the lobster there. It would be in deeper water. So you take your bait and you drop it down in front of the lobster. Lobsters don't take bait very well. But if you can convince one to actually grab that with one of their claws, you can get them about that far off the bottom before they let it go. So I had to try and figure out a way to catch these fish. So I catch these lobsters. So I tried taking the paddle of the boat, and I would take it and I would slide it down in the water on an angle, and slide it down next to the lobster, and gently slide it under the lobster and start lifting it up. And I'd lift it up and I'd get it maybe that far off the bottom, and it would scurry off the paddle, and as soon as it hit the bottom of the ocean again, it was gone faster than you could say www. So then after playing with these lobsters for a while, then I might I'd crawl back out of the boat and pull it in again, and I'd jump back on the wharf and walk over and walk down the beach. And once I actually found 6 little swordfish about this long, and they were dead, and they must have washed up in the beach or ran aground and they were off course. Nowhere in any of the other beaches ever were there any of these swordfishes ever found, in my recollection of the area. So they were totally new to me, and everybody found them quite fascinating. So by that time, my mother would be calling me to go home for supper, so I'd walk about 50 feet away from the ocean and walk in and we'd probably have fish for supper. It was probably cod or salmon back then, and living in a semi-isolated place. So after supper, we'd have to find something to entertain ourselves. And we didn't even have a TV, let alone internet. But one thing for sure, we did have plenty of fish.